Welcome to episode 9 of my Kawasaki S1 550 4-cylinder build. The frame's back from the painters, so now I can start assembling the chassis and getting the engine in. It's always exciting when a frame comes back from the painters. It's so shiny and nice after being such a rusty condition before. I was really pleased with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is fit the steering bearings, then the swinging arm. It's a lovely sunny day today, so I thought I'd start building the bike in the garden, so I go back to my garage to get the tools I need. I select a few spanners, some screwdrivers, some cleaning cloth and a hammer, and a bit of aluminium drift for tapping in the bearings. That should do just nicely. My tub of grease had been out in the sun for about 5 minutes and already started to melt, but it went on really good. It's always good to use a bit of grease when tapping in the bearings. It helps them slide in nicely. I offer up the bottom track to the frame, holding it square and giving it a gentle tap with the hammer to hold it in place. Then I can use my aluminium drift to drive it home. With the bottom track nicely in place, I tap in the top track, then put some grease on the surface ready to hold the new ball bearings. I then tip a few bearings into my hand and start assembling them into the grease, one at a time, into a nice circular form. The grease is just perfect for holding the bearings in place. With all the top bearings in place, I can now put the bottom bearings in, but this time I put them on the bottom yoke, not into the frame. Then, when they're all in place, I can offer the bottom yoke up to the frame, slide it through very carefully, engage it with the track, then I can put the top race down onto the stem, then put the stem nut on and lock it all in place, and the job's done. I tighten the adjusting nut up by hand initially. I'll be setting that properly later on when I build the forks. So now I can rebuild the swinging arm, and the first thing I'm going to do is fit the grease nipple. I tighten the grease nipple and align it with the spanner so I can get to it with the grease gun from the outside. And I look round and there's a robin watching me. He's really inquisitive and came right up really close. The next thing I'm going to fit is the 2 bearings and the spacer bar into the swinging arm. So I dip it in a bit of grease and slide it in nicely. That's the first one. Then you push in the spacer bar from the other side. And when the spacer bar is in place, dip the last bearing in the grease and then push it in the swinging arm. And the whole lot should be a nice sliding fit. With the bearings fitted, the next thing to do is put on the 2 end caps and offer the swinging arm up to the frame, being very careful not to knock one of the end caps off, and put the swinging arm pivot bolt through and tap it in place. It's sometimes a bit tight, so I tap it with the handle of my hammer and it goes through just nicely. The next thing I do is put on the swinging arm spindle nut, doing it up by finger tight at first and then tightening with my socket. Once it's fully tightened, I check that the swinging arm moves nice and free, which it does, with no play, just perfect. So now I'll put a bit of grease on the shock absorber mounts and fit the shock absorbers. I offer up the lower shock mount to the swinging arm. It's quite a tight fit and can take a while to get the bolt to go in, but eventually it does, and I tighten it with my spanner. I then place all the washers and the dome nut on the top mount. I only do this up finger tight initially because the grab rail has to go on as well later when I've got one, because I haven't got one yet. With both shocks fitted, the next thing I'm going to do is fit the inner plastic rear mudguard. This snaps onto 2 pivots that stick out of the frame and is held on with 2 little wire clips afterwards. It can be quite tight and fiddly getting them in, but they do go eventually with a bit of perseverance. And then I can do up the 2 top nuts and washers to secure it in place. There we go, I'm really pleased with that. So now the back mudguard's fitted, I'm going to fit the rubber grommets that hold the side panels on into the frame. This is that bit of the bracket I actually repaired, and I'm pleased that the rubber fits just nice. And I also put on the tank rubbers because I had them in my hand. And next, I'm going to fit the battery box, which goes into the frame and rests onto the lugs. The battery box is held in with 4 bolts and 4 big washers, and the 2 back ones screw into the frame, and the 2 front ones have nuts and bolts. But I tighten them all up with my 10mm T-spanner. frame build's really taking shape now, and I think it's time to go and get the engine. So I walk over to my shed and lift it across. It's really heavy. With the engine safely on the grass next to the frame, the next thing I do is to reposition it so I can lift it in easier. So I sit on the actual frame itself, bring in an old kitchen towel, not the one we're using right now, one of our old ones. Then I can lift the frame engine across into the frame. So gripping the side of the engine, I can just about lift it across a little bit at a time until it drops down to its mountains. Just perfect. I'm really pleased with that. I then lift the engine slightly so I can pull the towel out. Then I get off the bike and get a piece of wood and put it underneath the frame to lift it off the ground just a little bit, because the next thing I'm going to be doing is bolting the engine in place. I put in two 10mm bolts into the frame, but I noticed the heads have got these numbers on and I prefer to machine them off, so I go back to my garage and put them in my lathe and smooth them all off nicely. That's better, that's all nice and smooth now, so I repeat the process for the other 3 bolts, so they look like this. But now I'm going to stamp them in my own numbers. I want AM 22 for the year 2022. I'll be using these letter stamps to stamp the letters. You place them over the head of the bolt, hit them with a hammer gently, and the impression is made. With the bolts stamped, I take them up to my top shed to use my vintage buffing machine to buff the heads up nice and shiny, then they're all ready to fit. That's much better, I'm really pleased with that, and even Charlie Weaver's come out in the sun to watch. I insert both the lower mounting point bolts, put on the washer and nut, and do it up finger tight at first. It's important not to tighten them up too tight initially, because you need to line up the rest of the holes in the engine and frame. The left-hand rear engine mounting has 2 spacers, and the large one just slides in nicely. Followed by the small one, then the bolt goes through. It's a bit of a wriggle getting it in, but it goes in eventually. I put a nut and washer on each end of the stud, then use my spanner to tighten it up just gently at first, just to make sure it's secured in place. I then fit the 2 front engine mounting plates and put in the 4 bolts and do up the nuts and washers. With the front mounting plates fitted, I need to go into the garage to get the zinc plated rear mounting plates, so I walk towards the house, and as I go in I can hear some noise coming from the kitchen, and it's Tracy. I'm sure she's doing some cooking, and she is. She's making cupcakes, and she's just put in the butter, and now she's adding the sugar, and she's going to give it a good whisk up. After about half a minute, the mixture's nice and creamy, so then she cracks some eggs in a cup, 4 of them, and then tips them in. It's always best to crack the eggs in a cup first, because then if there's any bits of shell, you can pick them out. I was told that by Tracy. She then adds quite a lot of vanilla essence, but I do like the taste of vanilla essence in cakes. Next to go in is just the right amount of flour, so she spoons that in carefully with a spoon. After a quick whiz, she adds the sultanas, quite a few of them. I like a lot of sultanas. After a final whiz in the mixer, it's all ready for spooning out. This is critical. Each cupcake needs to be exactly the same, otherwise one will be big and one will be small, and that won't be good. There was just enough mixture for 12 cupcakes, so now they go in the oven for about 20 minutes. The cakes are soon cooked and allowed to cool, And then there's going to be icing on these ones because these are going to be special cupcakes. These are going to be hedgehog cupcakes. She then covers the surface of the cupcake in icing, unpacks some eyes, which we bought from a local shop, but first she sticks on a chocolate nose, then the 2 eyes, and then some chocolate shavings that look very similar to swarf I make in the garage really, except made out of chocolate. And there we go, all finished. I think they look amazing, so I pinch one quick and go back out in the garage. I always pinch a cake when Tracy makes cupcakes. I wonder if she notices, because she never says. Anyway, it was really nice. So now I can get on with fitting the rear engine brackets. I've moved the bike back in the shed because it looked like it might start to rain. I just picked up the bright metal parts from the zinc plater. They look amazing. I'm really pleased with those. So now I can fit the rear zinc plated brackets, but first I need to make some special spacers and bolts. The first thing I need to do is measure the extra gap in between the engine and the bracket so I can make an aluminium spacer. And while I'm at it, I put on the other mounting bracket so I can mark the bolts ready to cut them down to length, because these are the old original long ones. The old short ones were too short now because the engine's moved over slightly in the frame. To make the new spacers, I'm using a bit of 6082 T6 aluminium bar in my lathe. It's normally 1 inch diameter, but I'll skim the surface down to make it bright and shiny. There we go, that's just perfect. I'll just check with my vernier caliper that I've machined it long enough, and I have, so now I can drill a hole up the centre. With the hole drilled, I replaced the side and face cutting tool with a parting off blade. I then use a vernier caliper to set the depth of the parting off blade to part the spacer off to the correct length. I then replace the spacer in the chuck and give it a fine skim to remove the sharp edge in the centre. And here's the 2 spacers, all ready to fit. I'll just check the length and they're just perfect, so I'm really pleased with that. So now the spacers are finished, the next thing to do is cut the bolts down to length. So I grip them in my vise and saw them at the mark I'd made earlier. These are high tensile bolts, so they take a bit of cutting. With both the bolts cut to length, the next thing I need to do is recut some thread. Before I cut the new thread, I put the bolt into the lathe, face off the end smooth and cut a chamfer. I'll be using my M10 die and die wrench to cut the new thread, but I use my tailstock to hold the die wrench square to the bar while I'm turning the first couple of turns to make sure the thread is even. Once I'm assured it's even, I can then remove it and do it in my vise because it's much easier. When cutting a thread with a die wrench, it's always best to wind it 1 turn forwards and half a turn back to break the chippings. So I gradually wind it down and down and down until I've gone down to the correct length, and then I can wind it right back up again and I'll have a nice thread. I try a nut on the thread and it fits perfect. With both the threads cut, I can now fit the rear bracket assembly to the bike. I slide the bracket assembly in from the right hand side, pushing it up tight until the spacer hits the frame. Then fit the left hand spacer and bracket and do up the 2 nuts. I need to remove the sprocket cover so I can get the nuts on the end of the threads. It's all a bit tight and cramped, so first of all I'll undo the 3 screws and remove the cover, then it'd be much easier. With the nuts fitted, I can now tighten them up with my socket. At this point I can go around and tighten all the engine bolts because they're all in place now. Then I'll refit the sprocket cover. It'll have to come off again later when I fit the chain, but I need it in place while I'm doing other jobs on the bike to make sure everything fits. And here's the rear bracket all fitted. The next thing I did was fit the 3 standard coils under the tank. They bolt onto the frame using existing brackets. The 4th coil I mounted behind the left hand side panel by drilling a couple of holes and bolting it to the battery box. I then built both the wheels and put the forks together, so hopefully in the next video we can get it up on its wheels. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's starting to get a bit dark now, and I think the hedgehogs will be out for their food very soon, so I'm going to go indoors and have a nice cup of tea. Anyway, see you all soon. And sure enough, one hedgehog soon came and went into the feeding station, but only halfway in. Then another hedgehog came along and shoved him in harder and then ran off. Really strange.